Suppose you suddenly realize that before you left home today, you left your television set on. Maybe you're not going directly home, so for the next 8 or 9 hours, it's just going to be playing to nobody there. This would be a most undesirable state of affairs, and you certainly wouldn't do it knowingly. However, we have committed a greater error than that in the fact that if you do nothing about it, the television program of this world will continue to come through the picture tube of your mind. You have left it on unawares. Take a faucet that's dripping. If it continues to, we're going to have trouble later, and so we want to make the repair. Let us see that the human mind is like a dripping faucet. Constantly through it are coming images that have no reality. And that your peace, your solution to the mysteries of life, is going to depend upon your ability to control that faucet, that mind which automatically drips images, because its whole function is to be an image maker. And for the moment, just turn off the faucet now. Consciously stop the images of the mind. In the book of John, he tells us to do this in a different way. He tells us to lay down our lives. And what he really means is, lay down the image of the world that you have built within yourself, including the image of yourself in that world. He's telling us to turn off world images, and then he says, if you lay down your life, you will pick it up again. And so he's telling us that behind these images that we turn off, there is another set of images that come on. And this is the real life. His phraseology runs like this. I say unto you, that if a man keep my saying, he shall never see death. Keep my saying. This could well be translated, if a man has fidelity to my teaching, he will never see death. How can he say that? He knows that death occurs only in the television image of the cosmic mind. There is no other death. When the images are seen as unreal, and you are walking in the divine image behind the images, there is no death there. Whoever keeps my saying will never know death. You're changing from the images of the cosmic mind by non-acceptance to the divine image that you are, and you will never know death. It is no longer a deep mystery. Once the surface life of the senses is no longer accepted as reality, then the ever-present, all-pervading spirit life, which the senses are too coarse to experience, becomes your living self, realized, and it never dies. This is the continuous life revealed by John, who is recording the words of Jesus. Whoever keeps my saying will never know death. He is revealing that life is continuous, and that we who have not accepted that life is continuous are living in the changing television of this world, although we do not have to. There are two more passages that John has along the same line, and this one is 7:28. That other one was 8:51. This is 7:28. Ye know not whence I am, and I am not come of myself, but he that hath sent me is true, whence ye know not. He is revealing now that this child, which is grown up in the form of Jesus, is the first appearance on earth of the divine image, sent by the Father. The meaning is that the world mind has been overcome, and now the image coming forth is not from the world mind, but from the Father. It is the divine image of Genesis made visible. In other words, there is now direct cognition of reality showing forth as the form. The form isn't going through the processes of first being interpreted by the world mind and then into material form. He is revealing that the divine image that stands before the world, called Jesus, which was possible unto him because he is the light, is possible unto you and to me because we are the light, and that we can walk forth in and as the divine image. The laying down the life is laying down the image of matter. The picking up the life is picking up the realization of self as the divine image. And the divine image never knows death. But behind all this is the positive knowledge that we always are the divine image. The reality of us is never less than the divine image. And so it isn't a question of becoming the divine image. It's a question of dropping the belief that I am anything else. Now, if you can control the dripping faucet of a mind, which keeps making images that are not divine, and bring it to a moment of stillness, the divine image creeps in and takes over where the false image had been. And this is how the harmony seeps into your life. This is how the sickness begins to dissolve. This is how all of those things in our lives that were not the divine image expressing are dissolved, and in their place comes the appearance of invisible reality formed, called resurrection, the Word made flesh. And it is all because the faucet of the mind is no longer dripping images. If between last week and now you were able to practice impersonalization 4 ways, you will have found that the mind which you impersonalized lost its capacity to tempt you to a degree. And to that extent, more of the Word made flesh came into your experience during that week. Now, with the few who have done this, a great power was revealed. And as you maintain your fidelity to that 4-way impersonalization, you will discover that you are destroying the power of the television images of this world to influence you, to govern you, and to mislead you. The first was impersonalizing time. Knowing that time has no existence in spirit, that there is no passage of time in reality, that time is a false activity only in the world of mental images. And so the mind which, subtly, unknowing to itself, had yielded to the illusion of time, dripping out its images in time, is now released, impersonalized, and we stand in the eternal, where now is the eternal time, without beginning, without end, without change, a now that is infinite. And we are out of the passing time. All of the images that come on passing time lose their foundation. We become aware of worlds beyond the world. We impersonalize place, space. We impersonalize that which is finite, a place which begins here and ends there, a place that is formed, a place that has boundaries. We rest in the knowledge that spirit is boundless, with an infinite continuity and never divided or interrupted. And we feel that something in the mind is going away because the mind cannot hold on to that which is timeless, boundless, eternal, and infinite. And by this method we are relieving ourselves of the false pictures of this mind. And then we move on to person, matter, thing, object, structure. This too is finite, and we impersonalize person. We impersonalize person because only spirit is there, only the light is there, and now we have no time, space, person. We have no place where we can hang a condition. You cannot hang a condition on matter that isn't there, on time and space that isn't there. And so we impersonalize every human condition. And we are coming into that zero, where we have impersonalized the world. And we have included this physical me in time and space, in form, and its conditions. That too we impersonalize. And now we are in the allness of spirit, where God is all. And we are not denying that allness by interjecting another self, another being, another thing, another substance. There is one life here, Spirit, God, everywhere. And now I am in the state of a faithful witness. But I am that life. I too am impersonalized. I am that life which is called God, for there is only one. And this is the way out of cosmic television. Every picture that presents itself as a denial of the allness of God. Every claim, every lack, every limitation says Spirit is not all, God is not all. Every claim becomes the tempter saying to the Christ, make the stones into bread. Prove it. But you have learned the secret of the ways in which the tempter finds a method to find your vulnerabilities, making you think that you are proving spirit by proving something to nothing. And so finally, there's nothing in this world that can tempt you to deny that only spirit is. You're almost ready to be that little Christ child. And now, because only spirit is, I of mine own self can do nothing. I have absolutely no power, not even to see or to hear, not to walk across a room. Oh yes, there is no me here. I am impersonalized. All that is here is the Spirit. And this is why the Christ child was so unique. All this had been done for the Christ to appear as that child. It had been a total self-renunciation of all that was material. Accomplished, proven, demonstrated. And now only the Spirit itself existed in the consciousness of that child. It was a living spiritual consciousness. We are afraid to be a child again. But that child is greater than every material being on this earth. For that child is omnipotence, omnipresence, omniscience. That child is infinity expressing. In our total impersonalization of self, we become infinity expressing. When you are nothing, you are all. Now we find a higher power moving through us. It is not the power of a human mind. It is a power released because the faucet of the mind has been turned off. The higher power is grace. It is the invisible word, activated, released by the absence of the image-making mind. And there comes harmony now, forming itself as a different kind of image in your life. There comes health. There comes comfort and security. The Father which seeth in secret, the invisible divine reality, which is no longer sharing the throne of your consciousness with a human belief, is now the only law, the only governing factor of your being, and it knoweth your needs. It is everywhere. It is governing your infinite being at all times. It looks through your eyes at the images of this world without flinching. It is not afraid. It is not uncertain. It sees nothing but itself. It is the new you functioning as itself where you stand, because the old adult is dead to the new child. We die to the cosmic TV of a me, of a him, of a her, and we are born with a new vision, a new understanding. We literally walk in a new mind. And now life is no longer dependent on the form. We reach the point where life does not depend on the organs of the body, because you have never really depended on the organs of the body except in the false sense of self. This new Christ child is immune to heart attacks, brain tumors, immune to every form of human power. And we are told the magnificent news that this is the truth of our true being. No weapon formed against thee can prosper. But where is your consciousness? Is your consciousness a Christ child, or is it an adult in the flesh? Are you sowing to the adult or to the Christ child? Are you sowing to time, place, person, condition? Or are you sowing to the allness of spirit? The Christ child was once on this earth as the son of matter, but outgrew that belief and became the son of God realized. Everything you saw in the life of Jesus is what in time becomes your life. There isn't one particle of it that is not included as your life. It is the true self and its power made visible. You may know by now that crucifixion of your false self has begun quite some time back. Resurrection is taking place. The personal self is being submerged. The cosmic television is being overcome. The real life is coming forward. The divine image and likeness of the Father is being made manifest where you stand. This should be the Christmas message, that everyone is Christ in the making. And that Christ on earth, as the only life, the only presence, the only power, the only reality, was the symbol of that child. It was revealing that beside me there is no other. And that little child is destined to be the life of every individual on earth, realized. That will be the era of Christ consciousness. The images all around us are projected into visibility in a way that no scientist has yet defined. Even in a way that no scientist has yet discovered. And yet this process has been going on under our noses since the beginning of the world. When there was one who could look past the images, it was revealed that the images had no power and were dissolved. That one who looked past the images which were dissolved to reveal present perfection, that one has been named as the kingdom of God within you. That one is the true eye of your eye, the true ear of your ear, the true life of your being. And to realize that one in you enables you to see through those false images, just as that one has ever seen through those images in Jesus and others before. Now the mind does not know the great power that is generated when you only begin to do this. And I urge every one of you to consciously spend some time looking at an inventory of your problems one by one, with a view that each problem is a false image that only appears in your experience because it is happening invisibly in a world mind. Only to know this is all that I am asking you to do, to know it, to put it to the test, to know that problem that you are beholding and experiencing is there because a world mind has that thought in it. And that instantaneously, with electromagnetic precision, that thought in the world mind is functioning through the tube of your mind as the problem that you are saying you have. Just to know it. And be still. And you will find the power of release is there. You shall know the truth. And then as you know this truth and find that release, you will discover the power of the Christ in you has always been waiting your recognition. Just as the invisible Lazarus was waiting the recognition of the Christ to say, come forth. Behind every false image there is a true image. And if you never forget that, you will look at every image of discord, every form of problem that encounters your mind, and you will know that behind this image is another image. The only reason a false image appears in this world is because it is an impression we entertain about the perfect divine image behind it. Where the hate appears, the divine image of love is present. You can go on down the list of every problem you have. Don't do anything about it. Simply know that the true image is behind the false. And this is how you take the sting out of the world thought and denude it, reducing it to helplessness. It can no longer use your mind as a picture tube to bring forth its thoughts in you as form. This purification opens the way for the true imprisoned splendor of the divine. I know it works, and I know it works in anyone. You don't have to be high on a totem pole. You simply have to do it. And you find you have the power to look at these images and remove their power by knowing they are only images, no matter what name they go by. And this, of course, is the beginning of a Christ birth in us. You have the weapons, the four-way impersonalization of time, space, person, and condition, the realization that matter cannot be because spirit is all, the knowledge that if you face the appearing images of this world and recognize them only as images, coming through the tube of your mind from a world mind which is imitating reality, you will stand fast and behold, and none react, and agree with thine adversary, and mourn, so that you become dead to these false images. And lo and behold, as you become dead to the false, you become alive to the true. The only life you laid down was a life on a TV program that was not originated by God. And as you lay it down, you're laying down the ability to die in that TV image. Because that's the only place you can die. When you overcome the images, you've overcome death. Death has been overcome to the point of losing its victory. The TV image was the only place where death occurred. This is our way. It isn't a way of fancy words or of sentimentalism or of holy phraseology. It's a way of putting on the line of proof and demonstration the Christ way of life and living out of that Christ center which never bows to a TV image of this world. The quicker you start, the quicker you will realize that we are all beginning to speak with tongues. We are all beginning to feel spiritual guidance in a very heightened fashion. The living presence is very pronounced. One more passage, John 10:17, and that will be the summary of today, I think. Therefore doth my Father love me, because I lay down my life, that I may take it up again. I lay down the belief in the world picture images so that the divine image of being can come forth as myself. No man taketh it from me, but I lay it down of myself. I have power to lay it down, and I have power to take it again. I, in the midst of you, has power to do this, to translate the visible unreality into the invisible reality. Turn ye, and then we will walk forth as the divine image, realized. Now let's take each other's hand on this, because we're at a very fine place where instead of talking the Bible, we are going to live the Bible. We are going to do what the Master did. And make manifest the Spirit of God within us. Very Merry Christmas to everyone.
Merry Christmas to you.
Thank you, Sir Will.